everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nelson, I'm the living card gamer, and we just got finished playing 4 games with Black Widow Natasha Romanoff in Marvel Champions, and now we're here to talk about her. So Black Widow is actually one of the first heroes to come out after I picked up this game. So I picked her up and I started playing her because I wanted to, dive into the new stuff, and I just had such a hard time because she's built around these cards called preparation cards, which kind of require you to know the game fairly well to make optimal use of. So she triggers these preparation cards, and she kind of has abilities that play off of them. For example, in Alter Ego, when she plays a preparation card, she gets to draw a card, and then whenever you trigger one in hero form, she gets to deal a damage to an enemy. This means that you need to know the game pretty well in order to be successful with her and when to optimally trigger some of these preparation cards. A lot of the time it's pretty much always, but sometimes it could be worth holding on to them for later. With that being said, I don't know if I would give Black Widow to a new player. They could probably pick it up, have fun, be successful with her, but if it was anything like me in my first couple of plays back in 2020, it could also be pretty tough for them. However, that being said, something with a higher skill curve typically leads to more satisfying results once you get to know and understand how they play. So Black Widow has been out for over 2 years now, and we still only have 9 preparation cards that can be added to her deck. So 2 in each aspect, except looking at you leadership, and then there's 2 basic preparation cards. So the 2 basic preparation cards are kind of, I would consider them almost tech cards, and not necessarily like tech like Iron Man tech, but like you kind of want to play them based on the scenario that you're going up against. And so they can really be hit or miss. So I wouldn't always include these in the deck if you are not going to be encountering a lot of boost cards, for example. But let's just talk about them real quick. So Target Acquired is a basic preparation card that says you cancel a boost card's effect, which can be insanely powerful, especially if you're running through like Galaxy's Most Wanted. There's a lot of really bad boost effects in there. However, if you're running against a villain that does not have a lot of boost effects, this could probably and could be a waste to put on the table and in the deck and taking up some valuable slots. The next one is Espionage, which I find is a little bit easier to include in almost every deck just because the standard encounter set does come in with some surges already built into it, so at least you know that you have the potential of hitting them in every single game you play. However, if there's a lot of surge, this gets interesting. So Espionage says that when you resolve the surge on an encounter card, you then get to draw 2 cards. So this is also one that is not max 1 per player, so you can stack 3 of these on your board, and then if you draw the surge, you get to draw up 6 cards and then deal a damage using her Widowmaker ability. That is very, very good value. Those are the 2 basic cards. I typically, when I'm building with Black Widow, I typically look to take those out of her deck rather than look to try and find a spot for those to be in. I've played 4 games with her, one with each one of the aspects. You can find the links to those down below, so please check those out if they sound interesting to you. But what I do now is I'm going to rank them. I'm just going to go through and say what my least favorite all the way to my favorite was. My least favorite for Black Widow is Aggression. This is really because there's nothing super special with Aggression. There are 2 preparation cards. There's Lie in Wait, and then there's Counterattack. Lie in Wait's pretty solid. Counterattack seems to be a little bit hard to use because as Black Widow, you want to kind of protect her HP because she is fairly fragile, like pretty well, and Counterattack, you want to take damage to throw damage back, and that can be really good, but it's also kind of this risk-reward system because you don't want to be taking a ton of damage because then what are you doing after that? And so if you block all the damage, it's not as effective. So I found Counterattack to be kind of at odds with what she wants to do. And if I am running it, I feel like the best use for this is not to necessarily go on the villains, still use your chump blocks or defend against villains, and then use it on minions. So if a minion's swinging at you for 2, and then you can throw this back plus a Widowmaker, so it'd be 3 damage back to the minion. So that does really kind of like lower that risk potential, but then also take care of a nuisance for you. Aggression kind of just feels like it's butting heads with Black Widow, right? So Black Widow really wants to control the board state. She wants to be the puppet master. She wants to understand and prepare for what's going on. Whereas a lot of the aggression archetypes really just want to rush, go head to head with the villain, and that's really not what Black Widow wants to do. And so that's why it is in 4th place for me. In 3rd place, we have Leadership. So blue. Leadership has one of the strongest preparation cards in the game, which is Rapid Response. Rapid Response says that after an ally leaves play, you then get to put it back into play with the damage, which is really great, especially if you're, rapid responsing some of these really strong allies. That is the only preparation card that blue has to offer. However, you will be wanting to run a pretty good amount, probably 2 or 3 copies of this, even though it's max 1 per player, because you do get to trigger it so frequently. She also has a lot of access to some really good traits that can be kind of combined with Sneak Attack, which is something that I haven't really which I really haven't explored a lot in Marvel Champions. So on her hero side, she's an Avenger and a Spy, and then on her alter ego side, she's a Shield and a Spy. And so she has the ability to sneak attack Nick or some other awesome allies that have some powerful abilities that trigger when entering play. And I just found that actually, the sneak attack handicap, which I feel like it's been nerfed a lot in Marvel Champions as compared to Lord of the Rings, that it really kind of took away some of those limitations because she has access to shield and because she has a fairly good alter ego kit. And so being an alter ego, sneak attacking an alter ego is not a big of a detriment for you. In 2nd place, I have Justice. So she likes to be an alter ego because she has a fairly solid alter ego ability, being able to draw a card after you play a preparation card, as well as her support Safe House 29, which allows you to tutor preparation cards from your discard pile. So Justice gives you the tools to hang out in alter ego more often, because you're going to be removing the threat that the villain will be then putting on while scheming, and she is able to hang out and then build, and then roll in pretty heavily. Justice also gives her access to Agent Coulson, which is probably the strongest ally for her because he does tutor a preparation card when he enters play. It's also just a fairly solid ally. It also I don't typically put a lot of stock into this, but Justice does feel the most thematic for Black Widow, and so that is a lot of fun to play. So that leads me to my favorite aspect with Black Widow, which is protection. And so this may be my own bias coming in because, as you know, if you have watched the channel before, my favorite aspect is protection. So there is that to think about, but I think that her kit really works well with a lot of the protection archetypes. So she has an upgrade called Synth Suit, which gives her a +1 defense, as well as allows her to ready after she has triggered a preparation card. So this can solve a lot of problems that green has, where you need to be ready going into your hero form to really get optimal use out of your hero. But green, a lot of the times you're defending and then you're going into your turn exhausted. And so with the Synth Suit, that allows you to be able to trigger that and then get ready going into your hero phase so you can just do exactly what you need to do. She's a pretty easy, perfect defense. She has a 2/2/2 stat line, and so with Synth Suit and a Armored Vest, it gets her all the way up to 4 defense, which is very solid. And then she has built-in threat removal from side schemes with Covert Ops, so that can solve a lot of the issues that green has. And coming in is how do you deal with that side scheme threat? She has that built into her kit. Probably the biggest reason that protection is my favorite is it really lines up with what she wants to be doing. So protection feels like you are trying to mitigate the game in order for you to win enough. You're not rushing like you are in aggression. Protection feels like you want to set up and prepare for what the game can throw at you, which is exactly what Black Widow wants to be doing. So Black Widow's kit just gives you more tools to prepare for the worst and then counteract it when it does happen. So let's rank Black Widow in the overall ranking of heroes for Marvel Champions. One thing that I do want to point out is that every 10 Hero Spotlight videos that I'm going to make another, probably a shorter video that takes a look at some of my rankings, because sometimes newer heroes take a little bit of time to figure out and really see what their potential is. And so I want to be able to, do that on a consistent basis to kind of update some of these rankings, because right now on my tier list, I don't agree with the ranking I had given them previously. With that being said, we are going to rank Black Widow at a B tier to the left of Star-Lord. She's really solid. She does have a pretty high learning curve to play, very optimally. But with, like I was saying before, with a higher learning curve comes more satisfaction. I think she's a very fun hero to play. That is my playstyle kind of creeping into it. So take that with a grain of salt. But I do really like the way that she is able to manipulate and puppeteer the entire game. One other note that I will say about Black Widow is that I really enjoy heroes like her that play off a specific card type, because the designers can create more of those types of cards. So Black Widow plays off preparation cards. So anytime a new preparation card gets put into the game, it can really alter her playstyle and really breathe new life into that hero. She's one of those that I always kind of look at when I am looking at new cards. Is there a new prep card coming out? How can that affect some of the strategies, and how can that affect some of the rankings? Maybe we're going to get an awesome aggression prep card that really catapults aggression to even higher in that ranking. I did put out a poll, and it was, and I'm going to start doing this more frequently as I start to play, where you can rank the, which one's your favorite aspect to play. And for Black Widow, the community results were overwhelmingly Justice. So pretty significantly Justice. You can see that right here. But I do want to hear why Justice or why not aggression. I have my thoughts, but also this is such an immense game that just my opinions, I may have missed something, or I want to hear what your thoughts are. Like, there are some people who said that their favorite was aggression. Why? Why is it aggression? So I'm really excited to hear that. Let me know in the comments, because it's always fun to kind of hear and play some decks that people really love. I did that with Trap It and the Protection deck that I played. It was his deck. He loves that deck, and so it was just really fun to go into the game knowing that it's a deck that somebody loves, and it was amazing. It was incredible. So if you liked what you saw here, and if you want to see more of these videos, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that goes so far in helping me put out more content and just keeping the channel going. So I really appreciate you. I look forward to our next Hero Spotlight. See you around. Peace.